All right, I'm working on body mounts. So these 4 bolts that go up from the bottom into the trunk all broke. It's severely rusty down in these holes here. So for these, originally they would, these were stuck down here. This is where the bolt would come up from the bottom. And yeah, they're nicely seized and rust in there. So all 4 of these snapped. So what I did, I just cut off these retainers and then pulled out the floating, the nut, I guess you call it. I got all 4 of them out. This one was really rusty. So I guess I'll spray a bunch of fluid film down in there when I'm done. So it could have been worse. I cut these little 4 little access ports. Just use the Dremel. Luckily, these up top, wherever they're at, the bolts for those came out. The ones that are here came out fine, and the one mid body came out fine. So the 6 that went into the body must have been protected from the weather, because their bolts are in real good shape compared to the ones out in the back. That bolt ain't too bad, but see, pretty badly rusted. And then more breakage occurred up in here. So I got one of the new mounts just sitting in there to keep it spaced, but both of these up at the front broke on this side. It was a real pain trying to drill from the bottom. You can see they come up into like a fixed hole. One on either side, so I drilled some poorly aligned holes. That'll be good enough to get some bolts up into there. Another reason for doing this was I got to replace this fuel line. You can see I patched it a couple years back, but I want to run a solid line, and lifting the body up would give me some better access. There's the old one there, because it runs right on top of the frame rail in this portion. The very front ones, they were through bolts, so they came out, and they got these adjusters up there. So those weren't too bad. And then on this side, I had one bolt break, but you can see they were just rusted down to nothing. So I'm not surprised they broke. So 7 out of 16 broke. The old mounts weren't too bad, but I could feel when I turn real hard, you could feel the body shifting, and you can see even in their rested state, they're the same height as the new ones, whereas these poly ones aren't going to compress, whereas these were pretty squished out. These are a good replacement. Let me get the kit number. These 9.4 102 Gs. energy suspension, I believe. The only issue is these, I'm gonna have to cut these down about 1/4 of an inch or so. So I was testing one, and the bolt body mount tightens down on this before it gets really tight on the body. So I'm gonna have to do some adjusting with that. You can see with the old center, it's a little bit shorter, so to make that a little bit shorter like that. Each position might be different, so make sure they're good and tight. I'll have to cut those down in their respective positions. The hardware, just doing some measuring. The very front ones use these. I don't know what the measurements are on these. They're obviously special bolts. So the very front 2 bolts I'm going to replace with 5-inch 7/16. And then the rest of the body, I'm just going to go with, I've ordered a selection of 3 1/4, 3 1/2, and then up to 4-inch 3/8 bolts. I want to be able to use 6 of them in the body itself, and then I'll be able to get nuts on the backs of the front ones up here. Yeah, so I got access to get nuts in here, and then obviously in the trunk. So could have been worse. I wasn't too bad taking the trunk apart, but if I had to take the body, like the interior of the car apart to get to those, that would have been a real hassle. Especially these up here. I don't even know where they come out. Probably right there, if anyone's curious. But yeah, that wouldn't have been fun. So the 6 most difficult ones didn't break. But being a from Northern Virginia car, it saw lots of salt. So yeah, it was just initial video. I ordered my bolts from Bolt Depot, and when they come in, I'll continue. And if anything else comes up, I'll let you know. Alright, a little update on my fuel line and body mount project. So I got the nickel copper return and supply. Supplies 5/16, returns 1/4. This is a 351 carbureted car, so the 5.0s I'm sure are different. So this is where it terminates at the engine, and there'll be rubber lines from there up to the fuel pump. Some more views. So they kind of split here. This is that's a brake line I should replace, but it was real rusty up in here. All these lines, I had bypassed the fuel lines a couple years back because they were rusting through. So I just wanted to get some nice solid lines all the way up. So on back. This is the coming up to the wheel well. They kind of split. The supply comes in along the frame rail, so just something I decided to do at the same time I did the body mounts. It's definitely lifting up the body. Definitely helps to give you access down there. There's a clamp way back in there. quality lighting. So there's the body mounts I'm using, and also disconnect all your, or loosen up all the clamps for your brake lines so they can flex. Or you could just, you might be able to pop your master cylinder off, but either way, you don't want them under too much tension. So part of this was to get an electric pump installed to kind of prime it, because I had a stuck on the side of the road vapor lock. So it's kind of a rat's nest. I don't like it at all, but we'll see if it works. Oh, wait, do me a favor. So, this supply coming from the tank, I know it's not optimal, but it should be able to go into the pump. And then, there's also at the V a bypass and a check valve. And then it comes back in together. So we'll see if it works. And maybe I'll get some permanent clamps to replace all these nasty looking hose clamps. Tighten it up a little bit. And then there's the end of the line there at the tank. So yeah, I would definitely recommend the nickel copper line. It's so easy to work with. So now I've got that run, I can finish up the body mounts. It ain't perfect. I know up front there I really would have loved to get the body off completely, but I can't do that here. Someday in the future, maybe. Alright, for those interested, apparently there were different colors of body mounts. Most of my cars were orange. You see it says orange, and there's even some orange paint. And then 2 of them were green. You see green. This one's pretty smushed, but you can see the green paint. And yeah, it says you can barely make out green in there. Now, and also, the very front ones have this weird setup here. They had a long bolt going through the this bottom portion had a hex that went in the frame, so I don't know. And it was it's also threaded for the bolt, so I don't know. Real fancy adjustments. You can see this here can be adjusted all the way up and down. So I'm just gonna be reusing these. They're gonna go on top of the old mounts. I mean the new mounts. And yeah, I guess it'll keep it aligned. Yeah, the green ones were up here somewhere. Both sides have this green mark, like it's right in the middle. So, especially on the other side, it's more in the middle. So, from the factory, one of these 2 was green, one was orange. If that's interesting to anyone. All right, I'm working on installing my body mounts. He's no help at all. So, as I said, I'm using this part number, 9.4102G. It's an energy suspension. They look like these, come in 2 pieces. And they send you a washer for top and bottom, and a center tube. I cut all mine down 1/4 of an inch because they were too long, and so the 1/4 of an inch would have brought them up flush, and when it tightened down against that, they were still loose in the mount. So I want these firm, and so yeah, got them cut down, and I've got the car set up in my nice level garage with 4 jack stands, and the front, since these jack stands are so far back, you know, they're on the frame, the front sagged quite a bit, so I rigged up this other jack to raise it up. We've got all that weight of the engine and everything up there. What are you barking at, huh? Yeah. So, with car on jack stands, I got the jack right on this lip of the body here, and you can see the old mount in there. You gotta raise it up quite a bit. Because it's got that piece down inside. Let's pop the old one out. Apparently these were color coded from the factory. You can see these are fairly similar. They're about the same thickness. These are soft rubber. These smush down. I could feel hear movement if I turned real sharp or something. So they're definitely pretty worn out. So let's take the new one, slip it in there. Just put the washer in place, and that's all I'm gonna do for each one for now. Get them all installed like that, and then when I go around and get the bottom and the bolt up through, I'll need the jack again. You have to get some alignment on the inside. Up in there, there's like a nut plate that's movable, so you might have to fiddle around getting those lined up. Now this one, the one just forward up there, and then this one up here, all those bolts came out. I guess, well, not only was I lucky, I guess they weren't very rusty. So those 6 came out, and so it's pretty easy to slip them in. And as far as, yeah, that one, there's plenty of room on the bottom, but some of these frame holes will be a little tight to get the bottoms in, especially in the back. And then yeah, that hole there. But so yeah, these did not, the bolts did not come out, they all broke. So I showed you earlier, I had to cut up my trunk to get to the back of those. So yeah, definitely keep your shop vac handy. Rust everywhere. So I'll just continue doing that, and it's the easy part now. Some more of the fuel line I ran in the meantime. definitely good jobs to do at the same time, fuel lines and body mounts. You get some more space, lifting up the body. All right, look at the hardware. We were using 6 of the original bolts. I don't know what size they are as far as threads, but they're 3 1/4 long. So for a majority, a 3 1/2 inch should work. I got some 4 inches just in case, and also got some 3 1/4 just in case. So I got some extra long and some short, just in case there's areas where you need them. And the very front ones, I got 7/16 5-inch bolts. All the other ones are 3/8. Yeah, so the 6 I'm reusing, 5 here, the other ones down there, are the ones that came out and they're not rusted. So as far as install goes, I got the washer and upper mount up there. I got some anti-seize. I need the look out. Oh. Slide the center tube up. Sorry, I thought I had you on there. Get that in. Pop that on, and you'll see how much we'll be able to compress. So that should make it nice and tight, and these should hold up better than the rubber ones. Now I already got this one lined up. I was testing with it, but throw it up in there. That nut plate's just loose up in there. So snug it down. I'm gonna leave that one loose for now because I got to do all the other ones. But yeah, that's the stack, and I think they work perfect. All right, done with the mounts. It went pretty well. You can see on these front ones up here, just for reference. This is the driver's side. I was able to get a nut back in there. Come on, man. Through the drilled out the original mounts that I drilled out because the bolts got stuck or broke off it. I don't think it's focusing at all. Aside from shortening those spacers, the only other thing was on the passenger side, I didn't have that nice big oval hole there to fit the washers and bottom part of the mount through. So using some channel locks, I squeezed the mounts and got them through the small hole. It only had 2 of the small holes, like that. Instead of cutting down the washers, I just used a couple of the original ones. They're old and rusty, but they're pretty thick, so thicker than the ones that came with the mounts. So I think they'll work out all right. Here's the fronts. 5-inch bolt, just a little. Probably get away with a 4 1/2. Oh yeah, these were I used 3 1/2s on both sides of the front, and also in the trunk. I used the 4s originally, but they were too long, even despite the extra washers. I thought about welding them in here, but I'll probably spray some fluid film in there and then just fold down the sheet metal and either JB weld or RTV it. That way I can pop them open in the future. But yeah, Yeah, 3.5-inch bolts, all four of the trunk, 4 up front. And yeah, all the factory screws for these. They look well. Good fit for universal. And I'll wait until I get it on the tires. Rear bumper looks good. The front bumper has a gap. Just a little one, so I might have to adjust that. But I'll wait till it's back on its wheels. Alright.